Have you ever noticed how the ocean sounds different when it's thinking? On this particular morning, along a rocky Atlantic shoreline, the waves did not crash or roar. They arrived softly, like they were trying not to interrupt anyone. Water slid between smooth stones, paused, and then gently slipped back into the sea, leaving behind tiny shining trails that caught the early light. This was a place where things happened slowly, and where small things mattered. Near the edge of the water, where the sand turned cool and dark, a little shore crab moved sideways with careful steps. Its shell was the color of warm stone mixed with sunset sand, shaped by many quiet days beside the sea. The crab did not hurry. It never did. Each step was measured, each pause intentional, as if listening was just as important as moving. The crab liked mornings best. Mornings were full of sounds that others missed. The soft clink of pebbles shifting beneath shallow waves, the whisper of seaweed brushing against rock, the gentle popping of tiny bubbles rising from places unseen. To the crab, these sounds were like stories being told all at once. Every day followed a familiar rhythm. The tide came in, the tide went out, light stretched across the shore, and then slowly pulled away. Birds passed overhead, sometimes stopping, sometimes not. The crab walked its usual paths, visiting the same tide pools and rocky corners, greeting the shoreline like an old friend. But today, something felt a little different. The crab stopped near a shallow pool tucked between two smooth stones. The water was clear, but it lingered in a way it usually didn't, as if unsure whether to stay or leave. The crab lifted one claw slightly and held still. Listening came naturally, and right now, the shoreline seemed to be saying something quietly. A small silver fish darted through the pool, quick and bright, before disappearing into a narrow crack between rocks. The fish didn't slow down. It never did. The crab watched it go, then turned its attention back to the water. Nearby, a sea snail rested beneath a stone, its spiral shell catching the light in soft curves. The snail shifted just a little, carrying its home with patient effort. It didn't speak, but its steady presence made the pool feel calmer, fuller, like it belonged. The crab stepped closer and gently touched the water with one claw. The temperature felt the same, but the movement didn't. The current pulled longer than usual before letting go, as if the tide itself was thinking things over. Long ago, carried by the wind from faraway places, the crab had once heard a word, amistad. It didn't know the language it came from, only that it meant friendship. Standing there now, feeling the water linger, the word floated back into memory. Friendship wasn't always about doing something big. Sometimes, it was about staying. A seabird passed overhead, its shadow sliding across the sand like a drifting cloud. The bird called out once and kept moving, leaving the quiet behind. The crab didn't look up. It stayed focused on the small world just beneath the surface. As the sun climbed higher, light reached deeper into the tide pools. Greens brightened, blues softened. Tiny movements appeared everywhere, shrimp flickering like sparks, plankton drifting without direction, threads of algae swaying gently as if dancing to music only they could hear. That was when the crab noticed something else. One of the pools nearby had grown shallower than before. The water connecting it to the ocean thinned with each gentle wave. Inside the pool, tiny creatures moved carefully, adjusting to the changing space. Nothing was wrong, not yet, but the balance was shifting. The crab did not rush. It did not worry. It simply stayed and watched. Another wave arrived, reaching almost far enough before slipping away again. The crab took a few slow steps toward a small stone resting near the edge of the pool. With careful effort, it nudged the stone just slightly, not forcing it, not pushing hard, only changing its position enough to make room. When the next wave came, it stayed a little longer. The pool filled just enough to feel comfortable again. The tiny movements inside slowed, becoming steady and calm. No one noticed. No one needed to. The shoreline adjusted itself quietly, the way it always had. Time passed the way it does near the ocean, unhurried and kind. The crab remained nearby for a while, not guarding the pool, not taking credit, simply being part of the moment that had formed. As afternoon light softened, the tide resumed its familiar rhythm. The difference faded, blending back into the countless small changes that shaped the shore each day. The crab returned to its gentle walk, leaving the pool connected and calm behind it. When evening arrived, the air cooled and the sea deepened into richer blues. The crab settled into a familiar space between two stones, its shell warm from the day. It listened as the ocean spoke again in its many voices, some loud, most quiet, all important in their own way. Nothing needed to be fixed. Nothing needed to be remembered. The shoreline was whole, and somewhere between the waves and the sand, a small crab listened, just in case the ocean had more to say.